What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Podcast News and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. And once a month, on top of the once a month here tonight, once a month, I host the only online show for dads and fathers in the world that is sponsored by Dove Men Care, and also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. But all that stuff is to the side tonight because it's food time. Yes, it's food time. And you heard the giggle in the background. So the giggle is from my wonderful, beautiful, and talented and immensely wonderful, beautiful, and talented co-host, Sheree Williams. And once a month, we host Cuisine Noir, Behind the Business, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And this month, I guess Sheree knows I have a sweet tooth because we have a wonderful lady with us tonight. Aundrea Lacy established Love's Brownies in 1996. Why I haven't got down to that truck, I don't know, but that's another conversation. Prefers preparing her delicious morsels. Oh my gosh, I love this bio. Morsels in her apartment and then moving them to a professional kitchen as sales grew. Her story begins while attending San Jose State University. Aundrea struggled with algebra classes. I can relate. I struggled with calculus in high school. She failed the same math class 5 times. Her counselor advised her to work with a disability resource center and get tested for a learning disability. She was diagnosed with dyslexia. But prior to discovering that she had dyslexia, during her first semester at SJSU, as a thank you gift, she baked a friend some brownies. Why wasn't I that friend? At that time, she noticed that the dough was thick, but baked the brownies anyways. She revisited the brownie recipe, and she realized that she transposed some numbers in her ingredients without knowing that she had dyslexia. Her belief is some detriments are true blessings in disguise. I received that. Love's Brownies come out in 14 flavors. I got to get at least one of them, including Rocky Road, peanut butter, brownie s'more, coconut caramel, and mint chip. And they are sold online and shipped nationwide in the United States. And hopefully if the costs come down to Canada, or I'm going to have to spend a very expensive flight to get down to get some of these brownies. The company has been featured in magazines like Rachel Ray, Essence, Ebony, and Aundrea has been featured on the cover of Black Enterprise magazine. She's also the author of Brownie Points, 7 Steps to Success for Women Entrepreneurs from One Who Made It. Wow. So you know what? I'm hungry and I ain't going to get nothing to eat, but we're going to bring on Sheree and Aundrea. Welcome, ladies. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Sheree, how we doing?
We're good. This is a good day.
It's a good day because you my sweet tooth is like it's gonna fall out right now because we got a sweet lady,
yes,
who does sweet things, but she's an overcomer.
Yes.
And we love overcomers. So Sheree, how did you meet this wonderful lady?
We met 2014 or so. You know what? I honestly can't remember, but we've always just stayed in touch. She spoke at our Behind the Business in 2016 conference. She's at one of our Facebook family friends. So we've just stayed in touch. And what I just love about Aundrea is and you'll learn, just the optimism, just the cheeriness, and it makes you feel, wow, let me just stop. You know, I had a bad day because she's just always upbeat. And I love her story. And we got into a really great conversation last week about just business, SEO, and so much stuff. So I'm excited to have her share her story. I really am.
Yeah, I'm jacked. When I saw this story, I said, wow. And I shared it with one of my good associates, Nicole Waldron, and she may be watching and she said, what? I got to watch this. What? She says, that's the story. So, Aundrea, let's go back a little bit before all this wonderful success. Like, what was life growing up? Because it sounds like there were some challenges in your early.
There's there too.
Yeah, there's many stories. Like
before the high school, Dr.
Yeah. What was life growing up like, family, etc.?
Well, it's funny. My father was a hardworking man. He was a hairdresser. My mom was a housekeeper. And so they were always just really just always super busy. And so they always had time for us. I have two brothers. But, when school was always a little harder for me. And, I just kept going in school. I just kept thinking, well, maybe, I need a tutor. My dad would help me. Then my mom would find help. And, something just wasn't right. But I got through, right? I got to San Jose State University. But even when I got to college, something still just was not right. I just couldn't get past that math class. And I knew something was wrong, but what really wasn't for sure what it was. I never felt like I was very smart with other kids because back in my day, long time ago, in high school, they would list our social security numbers. And there were twin girls, and their last name was, L-E, and I'm L-A. So they're right below me. And they would know if I passed tests, or they would know what grade I got. And it was always so embarrassing because, like literally your social security number is there with their names. So everyone kind of knew how you did in every single class, right? And so, seeing your test scores and seeing everyone else's on full blast was never a great feeling in high school, right? And so fast forward to college, San Jose State, they pretty much did the same thing. They printed out those grades in front of that classroom. And you're just like, you got to tell everybody that I got a D or an F, But I just knew that I wanted to finish college, and I met some wonderful people at the university who really said, you really need to get tested for this and kind of figure this out. And I'm glad that I did. And yeah, I was diagnosed with dyslexia, and I still have challenges to this day, but San Jose State, they really gave me some tools and strategies on how to cope. So various coping mechanisms.
Let me ask, how much support did you get and continue to get from family overcoming this?
It's funny you should say that because, when I was apprehensive to say anything to the family because they're like, oh, you're fine. Just take the class. Like, what's wrong with you? Just, but once I told everyone, it was pretty funny. Everyone was like, I think I have that too. Hell of them were just like, I think. And then I didn't feel so bad. But unfortunately, they either weren't in college or couldn't get the right assessment, or their work didn't provide it or whatever. So they would just always say, yeah, I think I'm dyslexic too, right? So they were supportive, no real issues there. I found that through having multiple conversations that more people started to think, well, maybe that's why I didn't like college, or maybe that's why I didn't like school, because maybe I have some sort of learning disability as well. So it was a great conversation with family.
Sheree, I can go on all night, so I'm giving you room now, or I'm going to just be going deeper all night. So pick up where you want, Sheree. Go ahead.
So when he read the bio, it rang a bell again about the recipe and how you transpose it. So let's talk about that.
Yeah. So in high school, I told my parents I was going to work for Hewlett Packard. And back then, HP was the giant, right? It was the company to work at in Silicon Valley. It was like pretty much the only company to work at in Silicon, besides like IBM or something. And my mom was like, you're going to work for that calculator company. Remember they used to make the T90 or whatever, I'm going, they're going to make computers. And she's like, computers? My dad smoking, whatever. Just whatever. I was like, okay, whatever. And so when I started San Jose State, like literally my first semester, I met someone who actually worked at Hewlett Packard. And I told him, I have always wanted to work there. That is like my dream company. And he goes, oh, I can like get you in. I'm like, really? Okay. And he did. He got me in, which was great. I was there for 10 years. And as a thank you gift, I said, well, I don't really have any money. I can't buy you anything. Can't take you anywhere. But, do you want me to, like, I don't know. He goes, well, bake me some brownies. I go, okay. And I never, like, baked brownies from scratch. I just always got them from a box. And so I thought I should make this special and I should, like, do it from scratch. And so I did. And then I realized the dough was really thick. And I just baked them anyway because I didn't have the money to go back to the store. And he really liked them. And I later was diagnosed with dyslexia and realized the chocolate had been doubled. So...
I would have loved them even more if I was there. Like, you would have had me done right there. You know that. So go on.
Yeah, so the chocolate was doubled and he really liked them. And since, I'm in Silicon Valley, 95, 96, I was at the very beginning of the internet age, right? And so his brother worked at Intel. We had other friends that worked at like Microsoft and wherever. And all these companies are up and coming. It wasn't like it is now. There was no Google, there was no anything. So then I thought, there were so many search engines, right? There was like Ask Jeeves and
yeah. Oh, wow.
I've been doing this forever. Okay, forever.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I thought, well, people were to find me, maybe I should put in like bakery near me, bakery San Jose State alumni. So I started putting all of these keywords into all these search engines, right? And so people started finding me saying, oh, there's a bakery. I go, it's only an internet bakery, so you can't come to our store. There's no store. And so that's kind of how my SEO started. I was like doing all that grunt work behind the scenes. And my friends were like, you can never come out on 4th of July. You can never do this. You can never do that. I'm like, you guys, I am baking brownies and I'm doing keyword search, So I started that pretty early. But then I had
Nicole's on the line. I love the story and I'm looking forward to doing it. So, of course, she's not putting it on her. It's my responsibility to get the cook. Okay, keep on going. All right.
Yeah, so we had friends that worked in other high-tech companies, and don't laugh again, okay? There was something called the intranet, and they didn't have content. So my friends were like, hey, you know what? We have this intranet, and we could like put your business on the intranet because and like we could order for like, Mother's Day, Father, or you can come on campus. I'm like, well, shouldn't you guys put like HR forms on there or so people don't have to come to HR, or shouldn't you put employee information? And they said, no, they don't want to do that. I said, okay, you can put my stuff up there. I mean, that's how easy it was, right? And so very early on, from like 1996 for 10 solid years, I just owned like SEO, being on site at like Cisco and other places. Wow. And yeah, right. And so, but that was the time, right? I was right on time. So when you search Brownies, I was the only company that pulled up. I could have owned so many different keywords at the time, or search terms, or URLs, but I didn't have the money to do all that, right? All the money that I made during Brownies, I just kept reinvesting it. And then people would say, well, do you want investor money? And I was like, no, I'm good, because I want to own myself, so I'm happy to I'll pay you to consult and I'll pay you for this, but I want to own my own brand and self. I don't want someone to give me 200,000 or whatever, and then I have to, who knows what you have to do at the end of the day, right? So I just wasn't ready for all of that. So I just kept reinvesting in my company, reinvesting in product development. And there was no Google console. There was no Google back in typing these. There was none of that, right? It was all basic core HTML. And I was back there coding my own site. So I was at the forefront of it.
Your own site back in the day.
Well, it was so easy. Like, it's just HTTP, right? Like a carrot, and then you got a page, and then you do it wasn't that pretty, but it worked, right?
How far? I look at you as a trailblazer. I'm being serious. You're way ahead of the game. You were way ahead of the game.
25 years.
Yeah, and like I said, people. I went to someone I mentioned. If I go to the Chamber of Commerce, there's an organization called SCORE. And they have these retired people who can kind of help you with your business plan. So I decided I was going to write my little business plan. I was going to go to SCORE and see who can help me. And unfortunately, I didn't get the best advice. The older gentleman had said, heart-shaped brownies are only good for Valentine's Day. You're wasting your time and your money. I'm like, well, what about anniversaries, or what about birthdays, or what about I love you? I mean, there's so many different ways you can do hearts, and so he wasn't encouraging at all. So, I learned from that experience that not everyone needs to know your path. Not everyone needs to know your journey. Not everyone needs to know. That's privileged information.
Yeah. And, and speaking of that, it just raises so many thoughts of what's going on when people don't have context around what you're doing, who you are as a person, your story, that they don't give the correct advice. And we were having a talk on, I don't know if you remember Dr. Vibe on Clubhouse.
Yep.
And we were talking about like Top Chef, and it was around African foods. We were talking about food trends.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how when African foods, when Eric Ajapong was on Top Chef and he presented the foods, they were not familiar with how Ghanaian soups and everything should taste and feel and everything. So therefore it was like, no, this is not good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so when you base something, advice or whatever, off of something you do not know, that's not fair. That's not fair at all.
I would totally agree with you. And you know, it's funny. I'll hear some people say, you know, it was just actually not that long ago, someone who said, "Oh, you should do this. You should do that. You should." I'm saying, first of all, I don't know you. Like, I don't know you. That's fine, right? I don't know you. And then two, you don't even know if I've already done those things and they didn't work out, right? You don't know that. And then two, like, you don't know if those things are in progress. Like, you're not in my inner circle to try to figure, like, you know, what I've done or why I've chosen certain farmers markets, or, you know, and, you know, there was a long time, well, I've been at the San Jose Giants baseball stadium for 10 seasons. And so, yeah, it's a minor league.
Okay, hold on. How did you get that opportunity?
Yeah, so you know what, the craziest thing, that's another keyword search situation. This chief marketing officer had a birthday, and they wanted to get her a birthday cake, but they didn't want a traditional cake. So they put in cookie cake, brownie cake, and then I came up.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
I came up. And so after I came up, they said, "Can you just deliver, you know, our budget is, I don't know, $50 or whatever. We just want a little cake." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I made him the brownie cake. And then I met with the chief operation officer, and he said, "You know, we could actually, do you have a bite size? We could use those in the concession stands." I'm like, "That's a great idea." Like, let's do it, right? So San Jose Giants started selling the Love Bites, bite-sized heart-shaped brownies, in the concession stands. And then once again, that all had to do with SEO. So, you know, when my friends are saying, you know, 4th of July, you get it, I'm sitting there at the back end, like, I'm trying to get orders over here. Like, I'll meet you guys like later for fireworks. But if I don't do this every so many weeks, then you kind of fall off the map. You have to keep it fresh, right? So that's how I got into the San Jose Giants. And it was a wholesale order, so not a whole lot of money, but I sucked it up because I knew I wanted to go to Levi Stadium, which is the home of the San Francisco 49ers. And yeah, I'm a 49er fan.
No. I don't care about the fan. I'm here. I'm waiting to hear the story because it sounds like there's something going on there. So I'm going to let you continue.
Yeah. So I really wanted to sell brownies at the 49ers stadium. So I talked to the operations folks, and they were like, "Yeah, we know that you magazines, we get it, but you do not have large scale stadium product placement." And I thought, okay, I need to go figure that out, right? And so I decided, when they had told me that's kind of their prerequisite, I decided, you know what, I'm going to stick this out with the San Jose Giants because they're going to be a reference for me to get into Levi Stadium, right? Mm-hmm. And sure enough, when I got the truck, I checked in with them. They're like, "You're in." What? Am I? That totally works.
Okay, no. See, you just went from stadium to truck back to stadium. So hold on, all right? Well, holla. Okay, holla.
Yeah.
I was gonna get to the truck, but you already landed the truck. So let's hear about, and it's a big thing.
Yeah, it is a big thing. So stadium operations, they approved from, I wanted to sell brownies. So I saw in the stadium, they had this African-American restaurant there, and they served like Southern desserts and Southern food, like gumbo and everything, beans and rice and cornbread. And my son would be like, "Mom, get us a plate." I'm like, "Honey, we just ate at home," right? But he wanted to eat at the stadium. And so I talked to some of the folks there, and I thought, gosh, I can do a little turnkey situation just like they have done here with brownies. And so 49ers said, you know, if something comes up, we'll let you know, but we're full right now. And then that's when I started kind of thinking through, I had always wanted a dessert truck. And so I thought, well, if I get a dessert truck, can I park it? And they said, of course, just get your permit and we'll discuss. And I was like, okay, fine, right? And so I wasn't really for sure about the truck, even though I'd always wanted a truck. But I decided I saved some money because I'm frugal, right? I saved some money. I went to talk to 3 different food truck companies, and I was very transparent. I just said, look, this is what I got, and I'm going to get a trailer because I have an SUV and I can pull the trailer. I cannot afford anything else. I'm extremely frugal. And so one company was like, yes, okay, here's your price. We can do it. The second company, they were in Los Angeles. So I'm like, no, I don't want to make that that kind of that flight. But the prices were the same. And then I went to a third company, and the guy, his name is Ivan. He was so funny. You could tell he's a total Californian because he's like, you don't need a trailer. You're not trailer material. I was like, what? And he says, I can tell you're from California. It's going to rain and a trailer is not good for you. I'm like, Ivan, this is all I can afford. And he says, I'll find you a truck. I'm like, I don't even know you, but okay, find me a truck. He found me a truck. He found me a gutted white food truck, and it was so inexpensive. It was $9,500. And
What?
it was $9,500.
Wow.
So I had the DMV check it out and make sure it wasn't stolen or anything. And then
Yeah, really.
Carfax, right? Carfax.
Yes.
And I took it to Ford and I said, can you check the engine? And like, there has to be. They're like, no, you need tires and you need headlights. I'm like, is that it? They're like, well, it doesn't have that many miles on it. They didn't drive it. So I was like, okay. All right. I guess with the rest of my money, I can put the oven and everything else in the truck. And Ivan was like, we can work with your budget now. And I was like, I got a truck. Like, I'm trying. Do I need to get a different license or anything? I'm driving a truck. So I got the truck, and then I thought, well, I don't want to just be super Pollyanna and just sell brownies. That's boring. Brownies and milk, brownies and coffee. That's kind of boring. So I just kept thinking and praying and thinking. And then a few of my friends had mentioned, whenever we come over to your house, you serve great coffee. And I was like, oh, yeah, I kind of do. Yeah. And someone else said, I love your caramel. I love your marshmallows because they're shaped like hearts. And all these, they just kept saying these little things to me. And I was like, okay. And another person says, whenever we come over to your house, like, you really love Celia Cruz. I'm like, well, yeah, I do. I'm part Cuban, so I love Celia Cruz.
Okay.
And so, yeah. So I thought, wait a minute. Wait. And then it just started kind of coming together. And then I thought, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do fresh baked brownies, Cuban coffee, and ice cream. That's what I'm going to do on the truck. And then I'm going to reach out to Celia Cruz's people, and I'm going to ask for the licensing right to use her jingle on the truck and in the app. So when you hear her music, you know we're coming with Cuban coffee, brownies, and ice cream. And it just came together. I'm still waiting for I'm in the final stages of the app, so that's coming soon. But I feel incredibly blessed. Whenever I was at the truck just today, and I swear I let myself into my truck and I get on my knees and I say a prayer because I can't even believe I own that truck. I can't even believe that actually happened. It's almost like, how did I go?
It almost didn't happen, right?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, something. Oh, there we go. I think she froze for a second.
Okay.
No problem. We should get her back in a second. There.
Like that?
There you go. Do you mind? And I don't want, I know we have our conversations, but you got rosy times and you got rough times. Can you tell us about some of those rough times and why the truck almost didn't happen? What were you thinking?
Yeah, you're right. It hasn't been, even though my attitude is always pretty like, there's only so much. And then sometimes I'm like, it takes a while for me to build up to that. But once I get there, I get there. The most challenging part was really like I was in production for the truck and then COVID hit, right? And I thought, oh my God, I got all this money tied up in this. I got a mortgage, I got a kid, what was I thinking? And it's like a baby, it was coming. right? I couldn't stop it. He was already in like phase 2 of 4 at the time. And then I just decided, we were going to buckle down financially. We were just, it's just me and my son. I'm a single parent. I was just going to buckle down, and we were going to kind of, figure it all out. If that meant that we didn't do certain things, go certain places, that means we didn't. So if we needed entertainment, we rode our bikes. If we wanted to get out, we'll go to the movies. We went to the drive-in. If you wanted different food than we had at home, we used a coupon. I stopped dry cleaning clothes. I hand wash. Like I'd get a chicken from Costco, and we'd eat the chicken, and then I'd boil it down. I'd make stock, then I'd freeze the stock in individual bags for soup later, right? I use the stock to season rice. Like that one $5 chicken would last multiple meals, right? Because when I have a goal, I have a goal, right? That's the goal. I went through my closet selling things because I wanted that truck so bad. Just figuring out like financially, like how can I do this with pandemic? And someone had been with me for a really long time, and she accepted a different role, right? Pandemic hit and moved out of the area. So there went my assistant. I was just pretty much on my own. So, and then, with so many bills now coming in with truck insurance and, now commissary kitchen, and like it just went on and on and on, and a separate permit for the truck, which is a separate permit that I have from selling online. It was endless. But I kept thinking, okay, what can we cancel around here? Like, what can we do to make this happen? And it's amazing when you go through either your phone bill or your day-to-day expenses or your Starbucks, you go through you can find stuff to cut. And so I found a bunch of kind of line items to get rid of just to fund what I wanted to do.
Nice.
I have a question, and it's at two opposite ends. Where do you get your smile from, and where do you get your resilience from?
Gosh. So where I get my smile from, I don't really know, but I smile because I'm thankful. I'm filled with gratitude. Because, when I was in college, I was really broke. My dad could pay for my first semester, but my parents were they weren't in a position to help. And so I learned kind of the hard way of paying for things and, meeting the right people. Like I got a job at HP when I was really broke, right? When you know what really broke is, you kind of don't forget those times, right? You just don't. And I think the resilience component comes from like really hardworking parents. Like I said, my dad was a hairdresser, and don't laugh. Okay. He used to have these $1,000 days, multiple $1,000 days doing jerry curls. Yes. And he would weave hair. He'd make, people that were white, he'd weave white hair. He'd weave black hair. He would be gone 7 days a week, like hair, right? He was a hardworking man. He's passed, and I think about him every day.
My condolences.
Yeah, I think about him every day. And my mom was a housekeeper, and so our home was always so clean. It smelled so clean, but it was so clean that you didn't feel really comfortable like sitting, right? You're just like, can I sit here?
Yeah.
It smells clean. Everything is in its place, but I don't feel so comfortable. But, I think coming from two really hardworking parents, you see how hard they work. That was just kind of a natural progression for me.
Wow. When was the first special moment in the journey of Luv's Brownies? What was the first aha moment for you?
My aha moment was really proving that business plan over the course of years. My dad had mentioned, because he worked for someone for years, and he owned his own hair salon. And he always said to me, he said, I made a lot of money. I mean, there were $7,000 and $8,000 weeks. And this was like the 70s. You know what I mean? Like, this is big money, And he always said he wished he would have stayed where he was opposed to getting his own salon. He always said that to me. And he always said, when you make your next step, think about financially, like where that's going to put you. And he kept thinking if he managed, because, back in the day before, today they rent stations, right? They didn't do that back in his day. And so he just thought, had he stayed where he was, he just would have been having these, $7,000-8,000 weeks, right? And taking home all that money, right? Opposed to having his own shop and having all this outflow. So he always just kind of cautioned me on being really careful about my next step, and financially, like, what are you responsible for? What can you get out of? How do you pay for this or that? So I think just kind of listening and watching him go through so much with a hair salon, it taught me a lot.
Nice. Sheree?
Let's talk about your book for a minute.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me what are some of the tips?
Yes. So Brownie Points, my 7. So this is the funniest thing. It says the inside for one who made it, right? And that's, you have to understand, it wasn't like I made it anywhere. The point to that was I made a business work on a shoestring budget. That was the most important part when we talk about, from one who made it work without going broke in the very beginning, and taking your time, right? And then thinking these businesses, they take time. So it's not like you're in and out for 5 years. I'm gonna give it 10 years and I'm done. If you have to really love what you do, right? So when we were discussing the title with the publisher and my publicist, we were just thinking, we didn't want to say one who made it, like one who like made it big, but one who made it from, like I mentioned, a shoestring budget, one who thought about repeatable process, one who thought about how do we set up a center of excellence to have templates and toolkits, whereas when other people come into the bakery, it's a turnkey solution to get these folks ramped up. How do we then take these processes and potentially teach other people how to run their businesses and really ramp up quickly? And what I realized with the business was, I brought in some temporary employees from like temporary agencies or people from college. And I needed to figure out, like I said, a center of excellence to have, like, a new person comes in. What's the first thing that they do? The second thing that they do? How do we get these folks ramped up to the third thing? And then who do we take to a bridal fair when those were big? Right now, not so much because of COVID. But who do we take to these bridal events, and who delivers the brownies? So I really had to take a step back and think about, from all the money that I was making from high tech and just online, how do we keep that overhead, not labor costs, to a minimum for us to just stay in business?
Awesome.
Wow.
I know. Isn't it crazy?
So you had the early, what were the first 3 years like?
The first 3 years were crazy because I was trying to figure out, labels, right? Like the label that goes on the product. And then I remember applying for business licenses and permits, and especially, there was no e-commerce like permit to sell online. None of it even existed. So when the health department was like, well, how do you sell anything? I'm like, well, I can deliver them, or they can come pick them up from me, or I can ship them. They go, why would you ship brownies? Why don't they just make their own? I'm like, you know what, lady, look, they want to pay me $50. I'll bake the brownies and I'm going to ship the brownies, So we had a lot of those conversations with, because e-commerce didn't live, right? And so I don't know if you guys remember, it was probably like 2000, you had to get all these SSL certificates, and then, with, privacy, like all this stuff started to come into play because there was so much online transactions, and then slowly took off. Now it's in a different dimension. Like, we couldn't live without Amazon now, right? It's almost like, what would we do without Amazon? So the first 3 years were really kind of figuring it all out with, labels, events, product placement. I was in 5 or 6 grocery stores, so I did the wholesale thing for a while. I would do.
Okay, did you have any help while all this is going on? Like,
yeah, that's really challenging. I did from intermittently, right? So from either temporary employees, I had a boyfriend at the time, he would help out. My dad would help out at times. But different people at different times. So yes, I did have some help. But so when I had the chain of grocery stores, that was just wholesale. The great thing about that, it was delivery every Tuesday, Thursday. I could depend on that. And then I did in-store demos, giving out fresh baked brownies. And so that kind of held me for a while. So the first, I would say the good 5 years was a strong ride with being kind of connected with in Cisco and Intel and others that would say, just come on site and sell brownies, or just, we'll just put you on our intranet. So that held me for a really long time.
Wow. And then enters your son. So you're growing up,
yes,
and then you become a mother. So how are you balancing?
So you are correct. So he came home in 2006, and I kept thinking, like everyone says, it's so hard. I'm like, what's so hard about this? Like, he sleeps, he eats, and take him to school. Like, how hard is this? Is not a hard situation. I got my dad. My dad had a partner, and so my dad and Paul would kind of help me with my son. And so, and then I had a boyfriend that helped me every now and then. I'm like, well, what's so hard about this, right? Well, 2 years in, my dad passed, and Paul moved back with his family to Michigan, and I broke up with my boyfriend. So
you like easy. Hey, you love easy, right?
Right. So then reality really hit. It hit at home hard. And it's just been the two of us for, like 15 years now. And
wow.
Yeah, he's in high school, which is nice. It's nice. He can dress himself, everything. It's so nice. And soon he's driving. I'm so happy. I can't wait to get him a car. So happy.
But how did you do the balancing? How did you make it work?
Yeah, that was, so the first 2 years I had a lot of resources that helped me. And then I learned to trust people and friends, and then I was able to get help from quite a few of my friends who had kids to watch them for me. That was awesome. And then, he was in sports, so that kind of took up time a little bit. But that took me a good few years to be like, I need to get this order out the door. Oh my God, customer X is calling and he needs this. I'm like, well, you know what? I had to go to my dad's hair salon. Looks like you got to go to the bakery. It looks like you got to go on a delivery with me. Looks like you got to go. So I just started bringing him everywhere that I was, right? And so he had to go. And even when I'm at San Jose Giants Stadium, if I'm selling brownies, he's running around the stadium, So there's one way in and one way out. The great thing about that stadium, so he's safe.
Wow. It's definitely, I think about myself, and I have trouble just juggling myself and my schedule. So I like hats off to, parents out there who are following their passion for building a business and raising responsible human beings. Right? Because you're responsible for that. Because I'm like, I can't even handle myself, let alone somebody else. Especially when I had my dog who passed away. It was, as he got older, I was having to fix his food because he wouldn't eat dry food. So I was mixing it and feeding him. And it was like, wow, I'm like a parent now. I'm on a schedule to make sure my baby gets his food. So that was my little taste.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is too much. How has the market changed during your journey? Because when you said you first started out, SEO, you were there, another competition. When did you notice the competition? Started noticing?
Yeah, you know what? You're right. That kind of, so being a parent, I wasn't able to stay up like I used to, right? Sometimes 24 hours, sometimes missing events, 4th of July celebrations, you name it. I missed it to work on brownies and do things. And then when he started getting older, he had birthday parties and he had other stuff that I couldn't work on brownies, right? And so I felt myself actually getting pretty like angry, like, do I really want to be at Pump It Up? Do I really want to stop it? No, I do not, And then, I was like, it was my choice to bring him home. I have to be responsible with this. So I just started carrying my laptop everywhere I went in a hotspot and trying to figure it out as I went. I I did slip on SEO. I did. Like I said, I wasn't able to do it every so often. And as you guys both know, Google Analytics plays a huge part now with Google Console, with so much, and that kind of crept up on me too.
I need to hire you. This SEO thing, you sound like
you, Dr. Vibe. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that thing that crept up on me like you would not believe, because like I said, I had the market. I was on page 1. I did all of that, and then I remember someone from Google calling me, telling me, yeah, but we're going to change those algorithms. I'm like, I got this, right? Yeah, right. And then I get a baby, and then I'm like, I don't got this no more.
wow.
I got this, okay? And so, so that happened for a series of years, just years. I mean, elementary school was tough transition because I was still a single mom. And then middle school was a tough transition, still a single mom. So I had to let quite a few things slip because he was more important. And it's fine. I'm back on that SEO kind of bandwagon again. And I've been fooling around with it. And literally just today, someone booked our dessert truck for their event. And I asked them, what keywords did you search for? And she literally said the keywords that I've been using. So I'm like, it's working. It's working.
Yes. I'm telling you, I've got hired, Dr. Vibe.
Yes, it's working. So some of that old stuff, when people say, old is new again, it does change. Like I said, I've had to revamp my site, which means you're starting from scratch. I've had to do a whole lot of things, education. And now that my son is older, I do have more time. He's in high school. So I don't have to be I don't have to watch him like I did when he was younger.
Yeah.
So it gives me more time now. Even with the truck, he doesn't always have to be with me. I can work and he can do another thing, or he has a little motorized scooter. He can run errands for me, which is nice. The biggest challenge really has been for me being all online, right? And then COVID hit, and then now having a food truck. And then with the food truck, now I'm trying to figure out okay, who's still running food trucks around Santa Clara County? Because not all the food trucks are still running, right? So, okay, then I started doing pop-ups. Like I said, I have grit. So hence why I have a grit scholarship award, because, we're going to give our first scholarships out this year. So I decided there's an elementary school. Like I said, I had 2 hardworking parents, right? So they're always they're magicians. They're figuring stuff out.
So let's go back a minute and talk about your foundation that you launched.
Yes.
Scholarship.
Yes. So I have the Grit Scholarship Award. Super excited about it. And it's for...
hold on. Do you sleep?
I know. What's so funny? Everyone asks me that, so I do sleep, right? I don't think I sleep enough.
That's a good start. That's a good start. Keep on going. Okay.
I don't think I sleep enough because I do get kind of groggy. And people are like, you probably need to sleep more. I probably need to sleep more. Yeah. So I do, but I probably need to sleep more. But I do have a scholarship foundation, the Aundrea Lacy Scholarship Fund. And I am looking with my board of directors for high school students who have shown grit. And when we say grit, we mean they've been tenacious. They're just like me, someone who's probably failed a class. You have that F on that transcript and you're not too proud of it, but you know what? You're earning your stripes, right? And you probably start off at a 2.0 and you ended up at a 2.5. And that is okay. Not everyone is meant to be like a 4.0, right? Not everyone's meant. And not only that, college is not for everyone. I have an MBA, and just because you have, an undergrad or graduate degree doesn't make it for everyone. So my scholarship fund is for folks that are going to a 4-year university, a junior college, or a vocational school. So you could be a plumber, you could be a hairdresser, or you could be going to get your 4-year degree. This scholarship money will help you on your way.
Wow. You see that? I'm blown away. Nicole,
now, is it available to students in Canada?
First we're going to start off in U.S. and we will open it outside of the U.S. But since it's just our first year, I wanted to see how it was going to go, and then we'll go from there.
Okay.
So I read a press release saying that this truck is the first ever dessert truck. You don't play. You don't play.
You know, like I said, when I pulled it together, you know, I just didn't want to sell brownies, right? I mean, brownies, and on the truck you'll see brownies on a stick, and they're super cute. And then we put warm chocolate on top. We warm them up. I cook them on the truck, whatever. Right? We get it. It's pretty, right? It's fun, but that's just not strong enough when you think about a brown. You got to sell a whole lot of brownies to pay for like a dessert truck, right? And it has to be more than that. And like I said, I'm a huge fan of Sell Your Cruise, and life is a carnival, and it sure is. It has its ups and downs, but once you get down, you got to pick yourself back up. And when I started thinking more and more about that song and what it meant to me, and then not only that, like my grit and how I failed that same math class and kept thinking, I'm not going to graduate from college. Like, I'm just not going to get through. I wanted to pay it forward. I sincerely wanted to pay it forward. And I really wanted to help other kids that were like me. Because, you know, first generation going to college, my parents didn't necessarily understand, you know, why don't you just go get a job? You know, well, mom, you know, like if I got a degree, maybe I can get like a better job. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, but I want to work at the calculator company, like you said, you know, let's see how this, let's go. But the funniest thing is when I got the job, the first person to ask me, hey, yeah, you think you can get us a printer? I'm like, what? They make printers now? I thought they would make calculators, Mom. Right? It was like a running joke of like, now HP makes printers. They kind of already were making printers a long time ago.
You know, you are amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Are amazing. What are your most popular flavors?
So, let's see here. Mint chip definitely has been a huge heavy hitter on the truck. And I've been doing mint chip ice cream sandwiches.
Oh, mercy.
Right? Mint chip ice. And so that's kind of fun. And then during like Thanksgiving time, I'll do like a pumpkin cheesecake. Brownie.
Oh.
And then I thought, like, on the truck, we're going to do pumpkin cheesecake ice cream sandwiches, right?
Nice.
And they're shaped like hearts. So it's you know, it's I mean, the thing is, when you come to the truck, you want to feel like you've been someplace. Have you ever gone to like an art and wine festival and you think, I just spent $20 on like, I don't know, a burrito. You're like, that was not a $20 burrito, right? Mm-hmm. So when people come to our truck, I wanted them to have an experience. I wanted them to feel as though, I mean, people literally, when they do come to the truck, we're at farmers markets and we're playing like salsa music, Sell Your Cruise, they're sitting there either dancing, listening, drinking coffee, talking to their friend, just kind of hanging out. That's exactly the vibe, right? Like, I want people to hang out. And so during seasonal times, I'll give out roses and balloons, you know, just because it feels kind of good to brighten someone's day. So some of the, like the heavy hitter flavors right now has been mint chip ice cream sandwich. And then we make our own waffle cones and bowls with a hint of cinnamon. And cinnamon is, oh my God, it's so outstanding. It's so outstanding. So outstanding. And so we do these either waffle cones or waffle bowls. And then the brownies are warm on. And then we make our own caramel. So you can do caramel drizzles, right? And then whipped cream. It's an experience. You know, who wants to go to Baskin? I mean, I love Baskin Robbins.
I surrender. All right.
And then if you get one of our whipped cafe cubanos, which is like whipped coffee, you can get that over ice cream or you can get that over oat milk. And I chose oat milk because it's non-dairy and it serves everyone. Everyone loves, I mean, not loves it, but I mean, it's easy for everyone. You can just say it's just oat milk, right?
I want to ask you, what is the thought process and the process you go through to launch these new offerings?
You know, it's been one that I used to try out on my family first. Like, do you like this flavor? Or, you know, And then I decided, okay, we need a bigger circle because you still have that one relative, right? You know,
You know,
my folks.
there's got to be stories behind that laugh. You don't have to divulge them here, but I can tell by the laugh and the smile and the way your head went like that.
Yeah,
we'll discuss that offline. Go on.
you got that one relative, right? So I decided that I need to broaden my circle a little bit, right? And give samples to people I didn't know, so they can get the raw feedback, right? And so then I was able to do a larger testing. So I either would ship them to people that I knew in New York or other parts of the country, or if a customer ordered, I'd say, a new customer, brand new customer, I don't know you. Great, you ordered, perfect. Can you test this? Yes, perfect. Let's do this, right? And they would give their honest feedback.
I'm almost feeling like I know some people close to the border. Ship it to the border, and it reduces my cost because I want some of this.
Yes. So that's how I came up with coconut caramel, which was another flavor that I thought those two really go together. Well, yes, they do. Those are complementary flavors, and coconut caramel is so good. But yeah, so I come up with these flavors sometimes in the middle of the night, or sometimes I'm just kind of, watching some of my favorite cooking programs. Ina Garden, I adore.
Okay.
Barefoot Contessa.
Yeah.
Giada De Laurentiis, love her. Bobby Flay, love him. Tyler Florence, I watch them all. Kelsey Nixon, all of them. And I learned something from this person.
Hold on now. So Tyler Florence.
Yes. Florence. He's one of my favorites.
What you need to get on that food truck show.
Yes, Tyler, it's because of Tyler Florence. It's because of him. I will never eat chicken noodle soup the same way. Never, ever, ever. He would put chicken tortellini or cheese tortellini in soup and chicken stock with vegetables, and that was like chicken noodle soup. To this day, I still make that recipe.
Wow.
So can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
You should send a reel to him.
I will.
I'm just making that suggestion.
Tag him on Twitter.
Yeah. You should send a reel to him saying you have the first food dessert truck. I want to see that. And something tells you you're going to do it. I just have a feeling.
I'm going to do it. I am going to do it. I'll tell you, I got the permit back in like December and decided to do just a quick pop-up at the local elementary school because parents and kids go there. I thought, I know the people in this neighborhood. So if anything happens bad, you have it around people right? First. So that was, and so, like literally everything went bad that first day that I launched.
Yeah.
Just figuring out the POS system, figuring out like where the cups go in the truck and like where the napkins go, all that stuff, right?
I would love to see a video of that, by the way, if there ever was one.
I mean, we're way better now, but that first time was pretty rough. And then I decided, okay, we're going to do it a second time. And my knees were so swollen. I can't even tell, like I'm not used to standing on this like hard metal for hours on end, so I had to get the pads in there and I wear the right shoes when I'm in there. Right. And so that took time. And then, training folks as they come on the truck has been time. I have to explain like, emergency exits if anything happens. Cause you're in, think about it though. You're like, I'm responsible for these lives in a truck, it's huge responsibility.
A few moments ago, you said something that really caught me amongst many things about making it an experience.
Yes.
I think that is so key because when it comes to food, I'm used to the sit down experience. And you're making the food truck experience that people say, where did you get that thought process from to make it an experience?
I have a strong background in tech. And so working for some of the best companies in the world, Hewlett Packard's one of them way back in the day, but SAP, Adobe.
Yep.
Gosh, I've done projects at Facebook, Google. When you're encountered with those type of like high level companies that really produce either enterprise level launches or consumer launches. It was great training ground, right? So I just remember quite a few launches I was on. We would ensure our attendee had an experience when they would come to a user conference. Working for SAP for 10 years, I managed the Business Objects User Conference. And I was always thinking that, like, how do I give these folks an experience? And I remember we partnered with the NFL. And so I was able to take the NFL logo and take that kind of all the way through of, like, having the swag and then tying in their story with fantasy football, and you can meet a player and then going to Levi Stadium. I thought, wow, that was an experience for that attendee to have, right? And so I kind of took all of these experiences that I had from tech and brought them into my own business. But I wanted people to come to that dessert truck and feel like, when you spend $6.50 for an ice cream sandwich, or $8 for a sundae. I mean, if you think about it, that's a lot of money, but you have to see what you get for it. Like, we made all of that stuff, right? And so it's unlike you going to any other ice cream shop. You're coming there, you're getting like whipped Cuban coffee, or you're getting like, strong iced Cuban coffee. You're getting that from us. And, in my area, there's 2 other Cuban restaurants, but there are no Cuban trucks, right? There's no dessert truck, right? There's none of that. So
you gotta check out the Cuban restaurants down there. Are they any good?
Actually they are really good. And so I've had I frequent both of them, but since I'm frugal and I cook, it's just as easy for me to make all that stuff as well. I was adopted, so I didn't grow up with that food, but I've always cooked it. So my dad was a phenomenal cook coming from the South, Jackson, Mississippi through Detroit. So my dad was always making like chicken and dumplings and beans and rice and fried chicken and macaroni and cheese and greens. Like, I grew up with all that food, so I'm comfortable with making all my own stuff. So I'm apprehensive about always going out when I can actually eat in. And I've saved my money from that because I wanted to produce a truck.
Nice.
I want people who are either watching this live, watching this on replay, or listening to it on replay. Remember, if there's anything you're going to remember, especially if you're going to do something on your own, whether it's food or not food, what she said about experience.
Yes.
Very, 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 very key. Especially if you're in the food industry. Very, 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 very important.
I remember when I was a kid, my parents used to take us to Benihana. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Do you guys have Benihana up there, Dr. Vibe?
I believe we do. But you know something? I think one of the secrets of your success, young lady, is that you have that kid in you still.
I do. Yes, I'm still a kid at heart, and my son would have to tell me, like I say, he's 15. Mom, I'm the kid and you're the adult. I'm like, Mom, I'm the kid. All right. But even like when I was selecting kind of all of all the products for the truck, I wanted these really fun striped sticks for our. I'm trying to grab one of them so you can see them.
Yeah, great.
So people can see that, like, I wanted every touch to feel like you were on a dessert truck. You know what I mean? So we use these sticks for, like, the straws in your drink, or the brownies on a stick. So you really feel like you got something, opposed to, just the plain white ones. You know what I mean? Or even when you order our hot cocoa, which is, I call it chocolate caliente, you get a coffee mug, right? And then we make our own heart-shaped marshmallows. Like, if you're going to spend $5 on a drink, spend a few more dollars and get a mug, right? I mean,
everything is intentional. Everything
is intentional. Yes.
Yep.
That is phenomenal.
Well, my one last question is, what are some hopes for 2021?
Oh, the pandemic has been really challenging. I remember before the pandemic, PPE wasn't that expensive, right? Like, you could get gloves or whatever for really cheap, and it's literally anywhere. Now, like, a box of gloves is just so expensive, and they're hard to find. And I've noticed not all food trucks, not everyone's following all of this protocol.
Yep.
We actually are following the protocol. It's really financially hard. And the folks on the truck, they'll use their single-use gloves and they toss them. You're like, you're right. That's what you're supposed to do. So I'm still trying to figure it all out over here. So for 2021, our truck will be at farmers markets in Santa Clara County. We're still going to do some pop-ups. And we have some other folks that are inquiring about having the truck parked on campus.
Nice.
Some high-tech companies want the truck parked on campus because it's COVID friendly. We're gonna do the best that we can with what we have, and we're gonna continue to move forward and give each person an experience when they come to the truck by listening to great salsa music by Celia Cruz.
There you go.
And eating great treats, and treating all of our customers like family.
Okay, so you broke me down so much that I had to put this stuff on screen. You know that.
Thank
Like,
you. Yeah.
So I want to know what we're looking at, but I can't taste. Just remember that. But I'm looking, I can't taste. So what is this item here?
Yes, and I think you're pointing to. Are you pointing to the gift basket?
No, the 2 mugs.
Oh, yes. So those are our beautiful straws. See the cute little straws? Oh my God, they're so cute. So that's the whipped Cafe Cubano, which is whipped Cuban coffee. And we put that over either oat milk or ice cream.
Give me the ice cream.
Yeah, and then, we use this premium vanilla ice cream. And everyone gets a brownie on top of your drink. Because you have to, like you're not coming to a brownie truck just for coffee. You're coming for brownies and coffee, right? So you get a little brownie on top, a little
coffee. But I think next time, Aundrea, I may try that. I'm really curious about it. But I'm not a coffee drinker, but I think I want to try that.
And so we put a bite-sized heart-shaped brownie on top, and then obviously the straw. The good thing about the straw is we care about the environment. They're paper, so you don't have to worry about the turtles. Right?
Okay. And what's beside it?
Yes. So those are our heart-shaped brownie ice cream sandwiches.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. And so these are the ones we can turn into flavors. So I originally launched this with pumpkin cheesecake and then vanilla ice cream at Thanksgiving, Christmas time frame. And then once Christmas kind of rolled around, we had mint chip. So we rolled those out on the truck as well. People loved them. But now, we're going to roll with a different flavor. It's Valentine's Day. So now I have dipped in chocolate with little heart sprinkles for the weekend because it's Valentine's. So we want everyone to feel the love.
Okay. And beside that?
Next to that, we have our house-made waffle cone. And that cone is filled with premium vanilla ice cream with Love Bites, bite-sized heart-shaped brownies with heart-shaped marshmallows that we also make in-house. And our house-made caramel. It's really yum. So that comes in a cone or a bowl. It's the exact same thing, same amount of whatever material for the cone or bowl. But some people want to hold it and some people actually want it in a bowl because they want to share.
Sure. I don't want to, by the way. All right. And beside that?
Yeah, we have our brownie basket, and this is one of our original products from 1996.
Wow.
Yes. This is my old friend here. And this basket has 2 4-inch brownies and a dozen of Love Bites, which are the bite-sized heart-shaped brownies.
Okay.
And we've been selling this basket literally since 1996.
Wow.
Amazing.
If you scroll up to the top a little bit, you'll see brownies on a stick. That's why you see the little red and white.
Yes. Let me see if I can scroll up a bit. Maybe I'm not. Oh, hold on here. Yes.
There you go. These are brownies on a stick. These are the small sizes. And then we have them in large. This is our #1 seller. In January, I think we sold almost 1,000 of these on the truck.
Wow.
Yes.
And they're so cute for kids, though, too, for the kids that run up to the truck.
Yes. It's lovely.
Perfect.
That's ridiculous. That's just purely ridiculous what you're doing. You're a tease.
Well, thank you. It's a lot of hard work, but I have great
Indeed.
people working with me. So I wouldn't be able to do any of it unless I had a team, right? It takes a team for all of this.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. That is like, okay, I'm actually going to put up another page here.
Okay.
Just let me just put it up here. You can talk through some pictures for us. All right, let's do this. All right, there we go. We got some pics.
Yes. So this is the dessert truck page. So you get to see an image of our truck in action. And these are all the happy faces that come to the truck. Oh my God. Yes.
Baby.
And we wear our mask in our truck, as you can tell, the picture on the far right with the team of 4 of us. And then we always wear white shirts. White is my favorite color. I don't know how many white shirts that I own, but I continue to find more that I want to buy. I don't know how, but I do. And so, it's just, we just look, it's just bakery. So we wear an apron because obviously, chocolate stains, coffee stains. So we wear our branded apron. That's all for branding as well. Seasonal times, you'll see here, I'll give out balloons and roses. And it just makes people feel happy when, they come to the truck, the kids, sometimes the parents have money and sometimes they don't, but everyone is treated the same. So we'll figure something out when they get to the truck. So I usually have extra roses. I usually have balloons. I usually have something for the kids. And obviously we have great Cuban salsa music playing.
Can you do me a favor? Can you take even a 30-second video and send it either to me or Sheree? I want to see this in action. Because I would love, and then to Tyler too. Tyler first, then me. All right, Tyler first.
Okay, sounds
right.
Good.
Thank you. I'm glad I got a chance to add some visual to our conversation. Wow, what's next?
Gosh, I'm just trying to get through COVID-19 right now. I'm really just trying to figure it out. I've had, someone who worked with me for years, and now she's moved away. And now I have a new team, and it's nice, but we're still getting used to one another. You know what I mean? And so the person that I had working for me for so long, not only was she babysit, she would grocery shop for me. She would do so much for me.
Wow.
And now that she's kind of moved on and not in the area, I'm getting used to a whole new team. So that's one. And then 2, like getting used to a truck. Like I've never really, it's a box truck, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought I had to have a special.
You had the truck.
So I got the truck permit everything December 2020.
Wow.
And it was all completely manufactured, done 20. I got the permit in December. I put it on the road in December for the 1 pop-up. I did 2 pop-ups. And then when New Year's hit, I was at farmers markets. And so, if you think about just an online business, you just kind of wait for orders to come in, really, right? You campaign. Okay, I campaign, right? But a truck, we got to get that thing out on the road, because if not, I'm losing money when it's not. So what's next for me is filling up our calendar.
Nice. Any last questions, Sheree? I think, stick me with a fork. I'm done.
I know. I hear you. We're going to be doing an updated article on Aundrea online this week. So definitely go to cuisinenoirmag.com to hear some of the things that she said. And again, if you're in the U.S., reach out and inquire about her Grit Scholarship. Again, doesn't have to be culinary focused, just for a student who just showed that perseverance of getting through. So definitely go to her website, lovesbrownies.com. And one last final question, if you want to share the story. Who is Love?
Oh my God, she's right here.
Oh!
Oh, you dropped Love. How could you do that?
Oh.
Parents gave her to me when I was 2 or 3 years old.
Wow.
And, I think she wears an apron like we do as well, right? They said to me, money's tight, but you can choose one gift this year. Like, what do you want? We'll buy you whatever you want. Is it a bike? You know, what is it? I go, Mom, I just want a doll, but I want a black doll. That's all I want. And I remember getting a Holly Hobby doll or Baby Alive, one of those, and the mouth would move and go potty, right? And she wants in black. I'm like, Mom, I just want a black doll so bad. That's all I want. So that's how this is love.
Aww.
I used to feed her real food, and my brother had to fix her a little bit and flush her out because things were growing inside of her.
Oh, wow.
That's why she wears a little diaper.
Okay.
Wow.
And then my other brother had to give her a weave. So Love has a weave.
Oh my goodness. Well, you know, Love is she's standing the test of time. So.
Yeah, she has. She has a little weave. Love has a little weave going on. Yes.
Oh, that is too funny.
Oh, this is Love.
Well,
I love her.
That's a great reason why you should be watching this on video, folks. That's all I gotta say. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you know, you know when your parents work so hard, and as a child, Christmas is big, and I always had great Christmases. But when they said we can afford the one thing,
yes.
You know, and I got the one thing, you know, because in my day there weren't any black dolls, you know, so I don't know what they had to go through to get her, you know, so it meant so much to me when they gave me a black doll. So I've had her ever since. And I remember we were listening to Al Green. Remember Al Green?
Wow.
With the white suit and the fern and that wicker chair. And that's when I got her. What, 72 or 70 or something?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So before we end off this epic conversation, any words you want to leave our audience with?
Yes, I do. I would like to say, you know, life can be challenging. You're always going to have your ups and downs, but you can never let your challenges stop you from making your dreams a reality. You know, and I think through it all, if you really love what you do, you'll figure it out. You'll figure, and you can't do it just for the money. It has to be more than just for the money. You have to sincerely enjoy what you do. Wonderful.
Folks, I said stick me with a fork. I'm going to say stick me with a straw. I'm done. If you're watching this, the information is your website. Wrong website. There we go. That's the right website. lovesbrownie.com. Love Brown. It's everywhere. Just put, and it's Love, L-U-V-S, not L-O-V-E-S. L-O, yes, like the doll.
Like the doll, because I couldn't spell L-O-V-E. I spelled her L-U-V. And so if you look at my logo, that's actually the writing, my little writing when I was a child. So, yeah, that was my little writing. I mean, you know what? Like I said, my parents did the best that they could with what they had, right? So.
From where I sit, you're a great testimonial for your parents.
Thank you.
Yeah. As we say, where I'm from, they're done good. All right. So it's Love Brownies, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, website. Sheree, where can they find out about GFDI?
They can go to globalforgood.org, and then you can check us out at cuisinenoirmag.com.
Excellent. Like to thank Nicole for being here live and some others. And I guess Nicole and I were just waiting to place orders. She's already ordered me to get something from this wonderful business. That's another thing I have to do. My gosh. I am Dr. Vibe. I'm the host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2020 Podcast News Award winner and 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, once a month, I host conversations, only ones in the world for fathers and dads, by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national father organization. And once a month, you'll catch myself and Sheree wetting your palates. Like to say once a month, where we're doing this behind the business, the good, the bad, and the ugly, on behalf of the Global Food and Drink Initiative. Definitely go check out the website. As I close, I like to say these few things. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions, then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And especially during these times, remember to give yourself grace. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith and walk good.